kid. Like, when you're little, you don't really know what it is or what it means. Sexuality is not something that you really think about. It's more of a kind of a feeling of like, I know that like I don't want to be what mom and dad are, like I know that I don't want to like be kissing like they do in Dirty Dancing. I know that I want that to be Patrick Swayze and not, the other lady. But I think that I knew when I was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4. Like I remember like being more curious about boys than I was about girls. And I never really came out. That's the thing. Like my family, whether they've been okay with it or not, I never really gave them the choice. Like I was always, and I know that this is not everybody else's experience. I know that there's people out there that, are losing their lives because of their sexuality. Whenever I tell this story, I always say that, because I don't want people to think that like I assume that nobody should be coming out, because I fully support coming out and like I'm gayer than ever now. But like I never came out. Like I never was like, hey mom, dad, I'm gay, or hey abuela, I'm gay. Like I never did that. I was just like, this is my boyfriend, here he is. And I kind of was just like, you're gonna deal with it. In my early 20s, the first thing that I started to do when I dropped out of college was I started to write songs. And I was like, I'm gonna really go for this. I'm gonna really go for my dream. And the first song that I shot, Cheyenne from Puerto Rico, very famous singer, recorded it. And it's called El Hombre Que Fui, and it's on his album from like 2007. It's called No Hay Imposibles. And that was like the first moment that I was like, okay, I can do this. You know what I mean? Like that was, and then from there, I started like performing locally in Miami. And I started kind of like, gigging with cover bands and building a following that way in the live music scene here in Miami. And I was doing kind of what other people weren't doing. Like I was doing like all female songs, and I would flip them or put them through the Robbie filter and kind of like do it that way. It wasn't until really like I started with Daddy Yankee, which, was kind of weird for me, because at the time, this was already years after I'm kind of like working in the studio with these people. I already had some music out as an artist. And they called me up and they were like, hey, Daddy Yankee needs a singer, a Latin pop singer. And I was like, are you sure that you want me to do this? And so I kind of like, pulled the courage together to audition, and I got the gig. And from there, and it kind of took off from there, which I guess is where I'm at now in my career, which is I have a new single coming out at the end of the month. It's my first Spanish record. It's, half Spanish, half English. It's called Si Yo Fuera Tu Hombre. And I was just actually hearing the final mix of it. I think that I would have started maybe with the process of loving myself earlier in my life. And when I say that, I mean more physically and internally than I do when it comes to my sexuality. That if I had to tell my 15-year-old self something, would be to love myself more fully early on. Like I wish I would have had the knowledge that I did now, right? That I do now, and this feeling of like wanting to share that with people, because I think that I would have erased a lot of really, really dark times within myself and within decisions that I made later in life, with relationships, with men, with with all kinds of self-doubt that I had within my career. I think that it would have helped a lot. You got the best of me, but you've got nothing. You've been dreaming, oh, I feel it in my soul. Of me, I can't